Auzubillahiminashaitanirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers and friends. Stay in, stay safe, and save lives. Without any exaggeration in the beginning, I shall be beginning my today's topic, like always I do, by quoting Allama Iqbal. इस दौर में तालीम है अमराज मिलत की दवा है खून फासिद के लिए तालीम मिस्ल नेश्तर. As you can see here on the board, it's classes. It's a general lesson for classes 6 to 10th, and subject as usual it's English, and my today's topic is formal letter writing. Yes, formal letter writing. Formal letter writing, as you know, one is the subordinates write to their bosses, or you as students write to the head of your institution, or sometimes we face any sort of problem, or we try to bring into the notice of any of the authorities any matter that is related to the society, that is related to our own selves. So we address those letters to some specific designations, and such letters are known as formal letters. Yes, I won't go into the types of letter writing. Just one thing that will be under consideration, that will be under discussion, that will be simply formal letter writing. As you can see my board, I have chosen this side of the board. Let you consider this side of the board right now as a paper. Yes, let you consider this side of the board as paper. So I would like to go to the first point that we need to keep in our minds while we are drafting a formal letter. The first and the foremost thing is the receiver's address. As I have mentioned it here, a receiver's address on the left side of the paper. All that you need to do, that you have to begin every word of this receiver's address with a capital letter. Yes, I would like to repeat it. For example, these are three smaller lines, 1, 2 and 3. This line and this line, all the words that make these lines contain must begin with capital letters. For example, the headmaster, Government High School, Khumriya. Yes, the with the capital letter T, headmaster, capital letter H, so on and so forth. For your kind information, I would like to add that this address may contain of three lines. As you can see, the headmaster, then the school name, and followed by the place where it is located. Once you reach here, if you will put a comma here, you are at ease, you are at liberty. But if you don't, it is not an obligation for us. So is the case with the second line. If it is required to go for the third one, like I would quote one more example. For example, Deputy Development Commissioner, then the district name. These are just two lines. So at the end of the first line, if you wish to put a comma, I mean to say here, you can. But if you don't, this is not an obligation, this is not obligatory. So once you reach the end of this receiver's address, you have to put a full stop. This is the first and the foremost thing about this receiver's address, that you have to begin with a capital letter, each and every word. Then once you reach the end, you have to put a full stop. If you wish to put a comma here or here, you are at ease, but if you don't, it's not necessary. So after that, you will go a bit downwards where you have to mention the date. As I have put some dots here, this can tell you that you have to mention the date here. Then you will move further downwards. If the paper is available, I mean to say the space of the paper is so high, then you can leave at least one line. From this point to this point. Then you will go for an eye-catching subject. Yes, you have to mention here subject. Then you will write a sort of crux about which the application is. Then you will move further down. Some of the experts are of the opinion that you have to leave at least 4 lines from this particular section of the application to this particular section of the application, where we mention words like sir or words like madam. It in technical terminology is known as salutation. Yes, I would like to write it here. Sorry. Yes, it is salutation. It is technical term is salutation. Like we write here sir, or we write here madam, ma'am. Here I would like to go into it is explanation into some sort of depth. For example, you are addressing this particular application to a person about whom you are unaware. I mean to say, if you don't know the gender of the person to whom you are addressing this particular application, what shall we do? In such a case, for example, I am addressing an application to the Deputy Development Commissioner of Chief Medical Officer or Zonal Education Officer or Tehsildar, any designation like this. If I don't know the gender of the person who is holding that particular chair, it is not obligatory for me to write here a ma'am or a sir. We have simply to mention here sir, because the application, formal application, this application is addressed to the chair, not to the person. I would repeat it, that applications, formal applications are written to the chairs, not to the persons. So you shall never be bothered about whether I shall write here a word that pertains to a female gender or a male gender. After doing this particular thing, you have to put a comma here, then you will move, put the downwards, where you have to keep in mind that this is the body of your application. It must comprise of at least 3 sections, 3 paragraphs, smaller paragraphs, but there must be 3 things. Number first thing, that is the respect. The first line, shorter line or 1.5 line, it must comprise of the respect for the person to whom we are addressing this application. Like with due respect and reverence, as we are usual of this thing to write. Then you will move a bit downwards. Then you have to mention the reason of your writing. Yes, you have to write the reason. And then finally you will request to the person, to the dignitary, to the designation, to the chair to whom you are addressing this particular application, that that section of the application is known as request. So again, I would like to repeat it: respect, and then the reason, and then request. Leave for 1 day. Fee concession like this. And then the final thing, that is the sender's address. Yes, it is known as sender's address. Sender's address, wherein you have to keep one thing in mind, that you have to keep a bit of space between, like we write here, yours faithfully, yours sincerely, yours obediently. Then we write our name here. Between this yours faithfully and this name, you have to keep the space for your specific signature. So this was a bit about the design, the layout of the formal application. Now some don'ts. I would like to talk about only one thing, that is the don'ts, and automatically what are not the don'ts, they are the do's. So number first is avoid short forms. Short forms. Yes, in formal letter writing we cannot use short forms. By short forms I mean to say, like we write did, didn't, it has to be written in full, like did did not. We cannot use avoid, we shall say, in other words, avoid use of abbreviations. Yes, it is taking me too much time while I write it on the board, so I shall continue it verbally. Avoid use of abbreviations. We cannot use abbreviations so far as these formal letter writing formal letters are concerned. Number 2. And number 3, we cannot use phonemes. We cannot use phonemes like we do there in message writing. Number 4, we have to avoid slangs. We have to avoid palaver language. We have to avoid all those things which are informal, which we use while we communicate with our friends. So this was a bit of information about this application writing, formal application writing. Towards the end, I would like to add one more thing, that we shall never use short spellings like we always use GOVT, which in this particular writing, I mean to say application writing, is not allowed. We have to write the full form of government, the full spelling of government, that is GOVRNMENT. With these words, I see you up. Hope that you might have got a bit of information added to your already information. And by the grace of Almighty Allah, if He allows us, if He allows me, we will meet again in near future. With these words, I see you all. Take care. Good.